Did you know the obesity rate in America is at 42%? That's 2 out of 5 people in this country are considered obese. So it's no wonder that people are looking for fast, easy, simple ways to shed some weight and drop some pounds. And like most things in this country, trending things will lead the way, and that brings us to intermittent fasting. Hi, I'm Coach Chris, and I'm here to give you some more information about intermittent fasting and whether it's something you should consider if you're on your weight loss journey. There's a lot of information floating around about intermittent fasting, and some of it just isn't true or completely accurate, and we're going to discuss some of those facts. Many people have tried various weight loss tactics and haven't found any short-term or long-term success. And intermittent fasting enters the chat. Intermittent fasting boasts a lot of weight loss success stories and other health benefits, and those benefits attracts a lot of people. So what exactly is intermittent fasting? Well, simply put, intermittent fasting is just a calorie restriction that does so by limiting the amount of time you can eat. And there's a bunch of different methods. You have the 16-to-1, meaning 16 hours of no eating followed by 8 hours of eating. There's the 5-to-2. That is where you're intermittent fasting for 5 days, and then for 2 days you can be in a higher calorie intake. We also have OMAD, which stands for 1 meal a day, and that is, as it sounds, 1 meal, but there's no restrictions on how much you can eat. We also have the warrior diet, which is 20 hours of fasting followed by 4 hours of all you can eat. And you also have just an overnight fast, which is around 12 or so hours. All right, so what are some of the facts about intermittent fasting? Well, while it does have a whole bunch of benefits, they're not exactly exclusive to intermittent fasting, meaning you can get those same benefits from regular calorie restriction techniques. So this means your weight loss benefit isn't going to be greater than somebody that does traditional eating. It always comes down to how many calories in a deficit are you. When it comes to using it for fat loss, different strokes for different folks. Some people just respond a little bit better to hearing, I can only eat during this time period, versus other people might deal better of having smaller meal portions spread out through the day. The goal of this is to lose body fat, and to do that, you just need to be in a caloric deficit. That's all. At the end of each day, over a period of time, that deficit needs to be consistent and you will lose weight. And I mean, if you think about it, intermittent fasting simply says you can't eat for a large period of the day. What happens if you can't eat for 16 hours in a day? You are more likely to not eat as many calories as you would. Also, intermittent fasting doesn't guarantee a weight loss, because if you need to be eating 2,000 calories to be your caloric deficit, and you overeat by consuming 4 or 5 donuts, you're still going to be in a surplus and you won't lose weight. And there are other health benefits like lower blood pressure, but one that is very popular that is kind of just taken over is this idea of autophagy. Autophagy comes from 2 Greek words, the first one being autos, which is self, and the second being phagomai, meaning to devour. And when literally translated, it means to devour oneself. In other words, autophagy takes old damaged cells in the body and pretty much breaks them down, reuses whatever is still usable, and then gets rid of the unusable pieces. But that is something that happens in the body already if you're in a caloric deficit. Also, autophagy is just another branch within catabolism, which is a concept everybody goes throughout the entire day. So decision time. What are you going to do? With most of the eating styles, my recommendation is pick one that works for you, that you're going to stick to and commit to. This isn't something that you just flip on and off. This isn't one day I'm going to try this or another day. There still needs to be commitment. You also need to make sure that even if you are intermittent fasting or doing a traditional eating style, you still need to be in a caloric deficit, meaning you have to find what your maintenance calories are for the day and then subtract about 500 calories to try to average about a 1 pound weight loss each week. As mentioned before, some people might find it harder to stick to an intermittent fasting program while others find a lot of success on it. The goal here is find what works best for your life. We tend to forget in the fitness industry that two things can be right at the same time. You can get to the same goal taking different paths, and this is one example of it. If you're not sure of if this is something that will work for you, a good group of people that could benefit from intermittent fasting would be people with very hectic work schedules, where bulk of their day they're not allowed to get up to go for their traditional breakfast or lunch, but towards the afternoon time is when their schedule tends to free up. Those individuals could likely see a lot of success to it, as your schedule already keeps you busy and less likely to be thinking about food. Versus, I'm not so sure if I was to stay at home with a house full of kids, I don't know if that's going to work exactly well, at least for me, because I'm at home, constantly around food, constantly around kids that want to eat food. It might be setting yourself up for some failure, but it is something to look into. This is Coach Chris. I had a pleasure doing this video. If you made it to this part, thank you, and all the, the heart thingies. If you got anything out of the video, subscribe, leave a comment below, and let me know what you think. What's your favorite way of eating?